Let's begin this video by going back to our 6 original items in the index page. So let's delete this last 6 that we added in earlier on. And then reload, and now we're back to our original 6 items. First, we're going to begin by looking at align items. In the last video, we looked at justify content, which aligned our items and also determined the spacing between them. All of this was done across the main axis. We have the main axis set to row. This means all of the alignment and spacing was across the page from left to right. Align items also works with these same items too, but this time on the cross axis. So currently, with our current setup, the cross axis would be vertical or from top to bottom. For this demo, we can add some different heights to these items. This will help us see better how align items works. So let's go over to our 6 items and then let's add some style. So the style attribute, let's add the height and let's go for 300 pixels. Then copy this section and we can add this in a couple more times. So I'm going to go for 250 on this one and then 320 at the end. And then refresh. Now this looks a little strange. We've only set the height of 3 of these items, but it looks like they have all changed. This is because the default value for align items is stretch. So the flex items will stretch to the height of the tallest one to fill the height of the container. So back over to our styles at the top of the page. Again, this is within the parent container. We can add align items. And as we just mentioned, stretch is the default. So adding this in won't cause any changes. So let's begin with flex start. So flex and a dash and then start. Flex start will start the items on the starting edge of the cross axis. So for us, this will be the top of the page and then working down. So now we see the 3 items which height we've changed and the other items are still as they originally were. If we want to change this to start at the bottom of the page, we would then use flex end. So remember, this flex start and flex end position is dependent on which axis is our main and cross. If we went ahead and changed the main axis to be column, so rather than row, if we change this to be column, refresh, and now this sets the main axis to be vertical, meaning the flex end, which sets the cross axis, would now be over on the right hand side. If we change this back to row, and then reinstate. Also, there is an option to center the items too. Again, using align items, we can change flex end to be center. And you can probably imagine what this does. This adds a line right down the middle of the container, and all items will be spaced evenly above and below this line. These type of layouts used to be a lot more complex, but with Flexbox, this allows us to do all of this with just a few lines of CSS. We can take things even further too by aligning to the baseline of the text. So this text which is in between each item. So let's change center to be baseline. Refresh. So inside the browser on first glance, it looks no different from the flex start option. Remember though, this is aligning to the baseline. The baseline is the bottom line of the text, and this is what we see here. To see a change, we'll need to move the text out of position. A horizontal line should do this for us. So let's go down to our items, and inside this first div, we can add a horizontal line. And let's see what effect this has over in the browser. So now we have more content inside of here. This has pushed down this item 1 text, and all the other items still align to the bottom of this. If we move the text out of position on another element too, it will also still align. So this time add 2 horizontal lines, and this is inside of item 3. and then refresh, and we can see that all the items are still lined up, even though we've added 2 extra pieces of content. So this is how we can use align items in Flexbox. In the next video, we'll take a look at another cross-axis alignment method called align content.